Hello, Gold Team members. Zip here, just with a kind of brief update for you. I am making some notes, some background notes on my own personal experience, getting ready to purchase upgraded version of SurveyMonkey. In the process also of, as soon as I sit down and do some work, drafting up different components of this analysis. And I'll be sharing those with you as I go along here. I'm now at a point where the vicissitudes of life, being what they are thrusting me right into the very epicenter of the whole rideshare experience. It's been interesting. It's something I don't visit all the time, but I'm definitely doing it this summer. That also, let's see, what else is going on? I'm going to be developing some sort of a framework to do a content analysis of people's responses that I see on my Facebook page. The riders, rideshare drivers have their group pages, community pages. That's also how I've gotten permission to post a survey on one of them. But also, because it's public information, as long as I don't identify anybody, of course, I don't run the risk of any ethical violations if I'm looking at something, it's like when it becomes written, it's an artifact, it's public. So I'm going to be looking at a couple of those pages and maybe going through some pages and, for purposes of comparison. Again, we run into the challenge of this not being statistically rigorous, this sort of data, this sort of textual data. That said, there is a way to get at some surface of validity, we call it in social analysis, which means, is it really truly measuring what I'm setting out to measure by maybe doing a comparison of where I live and another city. But that only will come after I develop these initial things. So that's the kind of middle level analysis that I'm doing. And then I'm going to be doing an industry analysis as soon as I consult with a friend of mine who's a couple of business professors, actually, who are friends of mine. And business professor does not mean cheerleader for capitalism, nor lack of critical faculty. Often these folks provide the people I know, my colleagues and friends who are business professors, provide the most insightful analysis of, or critique, I would say, of the vicissitudes of capitalism. Increasingly, what I'm seeing is I'm in the preliminary stages of gathering data. It takes a while. The fallout from the IPO for Uber has generated, targeted at the drivers, a sort of what Immanuel Kant might have called a weak paternalism. Well, it's more than that. They are starting to tell people what to do. We're going to, I don't know what it is, but when some of these capitalist entities are pushed into corners, they're the first people the first people that they respond to in a sort of dogged, ham-handed way are the workers. And in the case of Uber, that's been no exception. I've had this week, there's been news of upper tier, and I'm an Uber X driver, which is the basic tier. For upper tier Uber drivers who are essentially, you have to have a commercial driver's license first, and you have to be you're essentially a limo driver. You're expected to have a very upscale car, like an Escalade or something like that. You have to have an upscale car or SUV. It's Uber Black and Uber Select of the services. You're going to pay considerably more, for this service. But what Uber has elected to do, and this is in the business news, is to have a rider app where the rider can indicate that they don't want to be talked to. So that falls on that did not sit very well with the larger North American community of rideshare drivers. Of course, you're being told to shut up, essentially. Which is, again, it's patronizing. So the first thing they do is rather than really focusing on some of the internal problems they're having, right? They just patronize the drivers. So you guys pipe down, so that, and then they've targeted the drivers with this kind of paternalistic exchange of it. Don't flirt with people. You can't have sex with your customers. I thought that was curious. Don't take guns. Apparently protect themselves legally. They are not operating. They're increasingly moving willy-nilly away from any kind of community interest of drivers. And what seems to me to be problematic is, on this low end of the economy, and let's face it, that's what we're talking about. They're going to run into a problem with workers. Okay. The reports on this so-called full employment economy are notwithstanding, and they're overstated, and there are all sorts of conditions of misrepresentations of things are not nearly as good as they say they are. That said, in larger areas, there are plenty of other alternatives for folks to pursue, right? And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get away with this kind of paternalism towards their workers. It's quite. One has to step back from it. But I'm analyzing that, and I'm going to have to be looking at trends in thematic channels that are targeted at rideshare drivers. So that's where I'm at right now. That's 5/23/2019. We'll see you soon.